gold is a rare resource. It's VAT free. There's a tighter spread between the buy and the sell price. It's the least volatile precious metal. It's a good hedge against downturn in property and stocks. There are a large choice of products. It's a great store of wealth, and it's easy to sell, store, and transport.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. So hopefully we're all here this evening to look at converting property assets into gold. And like Caroline says, we'll go through this and we'll pick up any questions towards the end, or feel free to use the chat box. We have Leo in house tonight. So for those that don't know Leo, he is Caroline's son, and he's actively been working in the office for a little while now. How long has it been, Leo?
Probably on and off about 5 years, but this stretch has been 1.5, I'd say, something like that.
Doesn't time fly? So many of you have probably been in touch with Leo, so it's nice for you guys to put a face to a name. So Leo is joining us tonight as well. So feel free to put anything in the chat and we'll answer as we go along or pick it up at the end. So a little bit of housekeeping as usual to start off with. So for those of you that don't know us, perhaps you're new to Bleyer, we were established in May 2009. You can find us 24/7 online at bleyerbullion.co.uk. And we are here to support, to help you make the best decisions possible when it comes to buying and selling bullion. And ultimately, we exist to demystify and make bullion investment more accessible to everyone. Our FIFO customer reviews, very precious to us. We're very proud of these, and we're very, very grateful for everyone that spends the time to go through and leave these reviews, because they really help new people and other customers to see real time what people think of our service, our products, pricing, and things like that. So it really does help. So thank you to everyone that does that. And once again, we have received the Platinum Trusted Service Award. If you're watching this via social media, please subscribe to our channel, drop us a comment, message, thumbs up. Any communication's always good. And you can obviously ask any questions on chat there as well. Our disclaimer. Please note, precious metal prices may go down as well as up. Bleyer Bullion accepts no responsibility for any losses based on information we've provided. We do not offer investment advice, but share our experience and knowledge for the purpose of raising awareness. It's up to you to do your own research and, if necessary, obtain professional advice before making an investment decision. So, are you saving to buy a property, transitioning from one property to another? Are you a landlord or have a property portfolio that you're downsizing? Are you investing or planning inheritance? Or are you a landlord looking to convert a rental income? If you fit into any of those categories, then you're in the right place. We'll be able to give you some more information and advice tonight. But maybe you're just here for some more information and to pick up some tips as you go along. So due diligence. On the start of any journey, when anyone's looking at making any investments, it's always good to do your research. Seek advice from professionals and make sure you just research as much as you can. It says that scratch to see what's below the surface. Not everything is always as it seems. So make sure you check out customer reviews, call the company. You know, are they picking up the phone? Are they easy to contact? Is there an actual human on the other end? Is there more than one method of contact, or are you just stuck with a contact form that doesn't ever get a reply? Is there an option for face-to-face or online meetings? And how do you feel about the way that you've been advised or dealt with? Does it feel right? Because generally, if it doesn't, there's a reason for that. So always make sure that you're putting plenty of time in to make sure that you're working with the right company. Benefits of gold. So we're mainly looking at gold because of the value of the assets that people would be looking at converting from property. But there are many benefits of silver as well. But rather than focus on that, we can look at the splits and things like that, but we can have more tailored conversations with people afterwards. So we have focused on the benefits of gold for tonight. And so the benefits of gold is a rare resource. It's VAT free. There's a tighter spread between the buy and the sell price. It's the least volatile precious metal. It's a good hedge against downturn in property and stocks. There are a large choice of products. It's a great store of wealth, and it's easy to sell, store, and transport. So considerations when you're on the journey or when you're looking at converting your assets over. So what are your options? What choices have you considered for the security of your funds? How secure are they going to be? What options do you have? The length of time. So this will be the length of time that you're looking at locking your assets or your money or your funds into, because advice will be different for a short-term strategy compared to those looking for a long-term plan. Market volatility. Have a look at research over a similar time period. If you're looking at 5, 10, 15, 20 years, what happened in that past time period? What's happening in the world right now? Is it something that's likely to repeat? Because patterns quite often do. And just spend a little bit of time having a look over and going, okay, so this is what the potential is. Storage and security. Would you be looking at home storage and looking after these assets yourself? Or would you be looking at secure vaulting services? Pros and cons for both, which we'll have a look at shortly. But the main things are to consider the overheads and the security risks. Capital gains tax, is this something you need to consider? Again, if people want more information on capital gains tax, if you're not quite sure, if you're new to it, then you can pop us a question or contact us and we can go through that with you. But ultimately, and the main one that people tend to not consider immediately, because the customers have their immediate, this is what I've got and this is where I am now. But more importantly, it's your exit strategy. So what is your time plan? How easy do you want these assets to be able to be converted back into whatever format that you want to use? What is the ultimate aim for this? Because it will help you plan where you need to be. So the pros and cons of self-storage or secure vaulting. There are many more, but we've just picked out a few of the key ones just to keep it really simple for tonight. So self-storage, pros, keeping it at home yourself or in your locality will give you easy access. It could be low cost and it gives you full control. The downside of that is that there is a higher risk. You do have to consider insurance, which can quite obviously on the value of item can be quite high. And you have a resale transportation. So it's all well and good having these items, but you have to find a method of getting it to the person that you're going to request to sell it for you. The pros of vaulting. So this is expert vaulting professionals. They provide you security and insurance. It gives you an easy resale option with insured transportation, and it also gives you peace of mind. The downside for this, obviously, is that there is a higher cost with that. There isn't any public access because of the nature of what it is. To keep it maximum security, there is no access at all. It's a question we quite often get asked when people join vaulting. It's not something that you can access. You can't go and view it. You can't touch it. Once it goes over there, it's there. It's safely stored for you. And also there are the resale transportation fees to move it about. So when you're looking at having a large amount of gold or any amount of gold, you do really have to consider the transportation, because it's going to come up wherever you are. If you're self-storing it, if you're vaulting it, it has to be insured and we have to be able to move it. So there is a cost involved with that. So vaulting, we use third-party vaulting storage at LBMA approved facilities. And these combined have a 160-year history, which is coupled with state-of-the-art security, technology and warehousing. Everything is fully allocated and there is an option to purchase VAT-free for storage. This before anyone gets excited, and there's no VAT on gold anyway. That's for silver items that are going into storage. And again, there is no public access. So gold storage fees, if you're looking at storage, this is just a snapshot of what's available. Everything is tailored. Everyone's different, but it gives you an idea of what costs you could be looking at. But if you would like further information, just reach out to one of us and we can have a look and give you a little bit more of a personal indication of what you're looking at. So the vaulting fees, so these are fees that the vault actually charge for insertion or movement of the metal, because it is a physical movement. This isn't a paper exercise. This isn't someone sat at a computer that's just typing some numbers in. This is somebody actually physically picking the items up and moving them. So each time there's a movement within the account, insertion, removal is £50 plus VAT. And there may be delivery charges upon insertion and removal as well. We do, as a company, try and help out where we can if it ties in with other movements that are going on, but we like to make customers aware from the start that these charges may apply. The billing is quarterly invoiced and the fees are generally paid by backs. So there's a sliding rate scale and it starts from as low as 0.5% plus VAT. The entry level, so the minimum level for storage, if you're looking at £5,000 or below, is £10 plus VAT per month, and that's per metal. Again, any questions, just reach out to us. Customer ID, we thought it was useful to put in because when we're looking at assets and the value that we're potentially looking at for tonight's subject, ID will be a requirement. And we don't like to have to ask for this because we know that some people find these requests quite intrusive for lots and lots of reasons. But our independent reviews, our FIFO reviews and all the other reviews that we get at Trustpilot, these reviews provide our customers with insights as to us as a business. So you as a customer get a feel for who we are. But we don't have that advantage when we're dealing with our customers. And also as well, as a reputable business, we have to demonstrate a really good know your customer policy for our bank, because this gives them the confidence then that we're doing everything that we can to prevent fraud, because unfortunately it is out there. So we ask customers who are making substantial orders, and particularly those that we don't have a relationship with as well, to provide ID, because this just helps us to verify customer accounts. We don't pass this information on. There's no third parties. We're not sending it on to government agencies. There's nothing that we're doing with it other than we're verifying it, just so that if something should happen, then we can say, yes, yeah, we've done what we need to do and we can discuss things with the bank. So unless you move house, change your name, something crops up on your account that looks a little bit different, it's highly unlikely you'll be asked to provide it again. But it does help us as well because we can see patterns on your account and think, oh, do you know what, this doesn't quite feel right, and just helps us to protect you as a customer as well. The case studies. So we thought for tonight it might just be slightly easier tonight to give you a snapshot of what a couple of customers have experienced that have been through the process of converting their property assets into gold, exactly what we're here for tonight. And to protect their data, we interviewed them offline and asked some various questions. So we're going to spend a little bit of time just going through those questions and giving you the information on that. So it'll feel a bit more flat than giving an interview straight out, but we wanted to protect people's identity for obvious reasons. So Caroline and I are going to run through that tonight together and just go through some of the questions that we asked, and we've got the answers that these customers provided us. So we shall run through those.
First question, what led you to decide to buy gold instead of just putting money in the bank, we asked.
So the first customer answered with they wanted to protect their wealth. They were concerned about a global crash and didn't want to have the money in the bank. Stocks and shares didn't feel right, and gold seemed like a safe option. But he didn't just want gold, he wanted some silver as well, because he wanted some smaller denominations to look at perhaps using for a potential bartering system for the future. So that was the first customer. And the second customer that we spoke to again said that they were looking for a place of safety, but hopefully growth as well. They didn't want the funds in fiat because, and I quote, these aren't my words, these are the words that the customer have used. They didn't want funds in fiat because the banks are bust.
Second question, what help did you need to support your decision-making process?
So our first customer said prior to finding Bleyer, a friend local to him had previously invested in precious metals and recommended that he invested in gold. And the second customer said that they had been buying precious metals for 12 months prior to making this investment, and she could have taken more advice, but she felt confident in what she was doing. Previous savings knowledge for her was for the traditional premium bonds, so this was a new avenue for her.
Number 3, did you investigate any other avenues or consider other options?
So our first customer said no, straight out was no. He knew what he wanted. He knew that he wanted something that had a guarantee to protect his wealth, and he required a tangible product. And our other customer said that she considered land, but that didn't happen. And precious metals was going to be a holding place until that land purchase became available.
What were your initial concerns, if any, and how did you overcome them?
So our first customer, he was quite certain that no, there wasn't any initial concerns. He said there was trust with Bleyer, so he had no concerns. The only thing that he had to overcome was deciding on which was the best strategy for splitting his gold and silver. So what percentage was he going to have in his gold and silver? And our second customer, have a look. Her concerns were, is gold real? She wasn't sure. This was new. She wasn't quite sure as to how she knew whether or not the gold was real. How did she know it was the best option for her? Is it the right thing to do? What to buy? So she had a lot more questions. But she also said as well that you have to accept that you will make mistakes as with other aspects of life.
Question 5. Did you fully understand the process and were you comfortable in asking questions or for support?
Our first customer said they felt completely comfortable with the process. If there was anything he needed or clarity, he felt at ease picking up the phone and asking questions. Our second customer, she said it wasn't in her nature to ask questions, and she learned as she went along with the process. She went into detail and said it's quite difficult to know what questions to ask when you're not sure as you're going along. But she found as she went into the process more and more, the questions started to come through.
Question 6. How would you describe the execution of the transaction?
Our first customer said it was prompt and as he expected. He was kept well informed and he was happy. And our second customer said it was straightforward and it was like buying anything from any other shop.
Question 7. Did you encounter any difficulty with the financial system at the time?
So our first customer said yes. He said this was the most stressful part of the process for him, the bank. He had to persuade them to make payments, which was difficult despite him visiting his local branch. Even after the first payment had been processed, due to a lack of consistency with the bank's counter staff, he still had issues processing further payments. He was made to feel like he was a criminal. He spent lots of hours trying to make this happen. He was worried about his account. He thought it might be locked and he wouldn't have any access to his funds, and he felt like it was a deliberate obstruction. Our second customer, she said no, it was an easy process. She had no difficulty whatsoever. So two completely different experiences from those customers.
Question 8. How did you feel after your order was completed?
Our first customer said greatly relieved, as he was convinced that the bank would stop him, so he was very pleased. And our second customer said she wasn't really hugely impacted, as it was a really busy time for her, and she just felt like it was a job done, something she ticked off the list, and she's just something else that was done, and she moved on to the next job.
Number 9, what would be your top 3 tips for anyone considering a similar transaction to the one you have completed?
Our first customer said that his first tip would be to find a company that you are happy with and one that you trust. His second would be to follow up on a recommendation. And his third was to do your homework, get information and quotes from others so you can compare. And our second customer, she had top 2 tips, and she said, just do it and stop procrastinating. And her second one was to get to know your bullion dealer very well.
Number 10, is there anything you would have done differently and why?
So our first customer was quite honest. He said, I should have done more homework, but struck lucky. And our second customer said, I would have bought more coins than bars and researched more on capital gains tax and VAT.
Question 11, why did you choose to use Bleyer, and have you ever recommended them to anyone else?
So our first customer said that he met Caroline at a local meeting of minds. And this was a coincidence because it came at the same time that he had his recommendation from his friend. So he felt that he'd been led to Bleyer. He said, once getting to know us, he liked that we were local and that he could trust us. He said that we have a more balanced approach rather than a transactional feel or fleecing the customer. Bleyer's informal approach was welcomed, and he appreciated the comfort, privacy, and the personal touch. And he would absolutely recommend Bleyer with no hesitation. Our second customer again said that she came from a recommendation from a friend that she trusted, and Bleyer had been accommodating beyond imagination. The personal touch is greatly appreciated, and having bought from many dealers, Bleyer may be slightly more expensive on some occasions, but she values on knowing who she is dealing with.
Do you have anything else you would like to add? Is our final question, I think.
So our final question, and it was the most simple answer for both of these. No, they were quite happy that they'd included everything and thought it sort of captured their journey as they went through converting their property assets into, both of them was gold and one of them slightly, there was a percentage of silver there as well. And they felt that it captured everything. So yes, if you guys see this on the rerun, thank you ever so much for your time once again and for taking part and helping with that, because we think and hope it'll be valuable insight for some people that are about to embark on a similar journey. So we'll open up the floor for some question and answers. I don't know if there's anything going on in the chat while I've been chatting. So if there's anything in the chat, we can start with that. And if not, feel free to unmute and just shout away.
So Ian is asking, what does cost per metal mean? Ounces. Ian, would you like to elaborate on your question, please? So I'm not clear about what you need help with.
Is that for storage? So the charges are the cost per metal per transaction? Feel free to type. You don't have to unmute. Feel free to type if you feel more comfortable doing it that way.
It's possible that maybe Ian is not listening right this second.
It's okay. We can come back to Ian's question. I can't see the chat, so we can come back to Ian and
Leo has responded with storage costs are based on monthly average of the precious metal stored based on the spot price. So yeah, and the metal meaning of per metal.
so with silver and gold. So if there would be, if you're putting in just gold, then there'll be £50 plus VAT insertion and removal charge. If you're putting in silver and gold, it would be £50 per metal. So you'd be looking at £100 plus VAT, insertion and removal.
Marcia, we use Loomis for gold, and we've got our custom warehouses with Baird. So we can store other metals with Loomis, but for the VAT-free, so VAT-free purchase and storage, sorry, the storage is not VAT exempt, but the purchase and the sale, as long as the metal stays in storage, you don't pay VAT on it. So we tend to use Baird for the silver. Know what you're talking about. Some companies basically have a load of gold and they rent it out to other people. No, we don't do that. Metals that we have are fully allocated. So you get, if you have bars, you get given bar numbers. The trend is moving more towards coins, especially with the capital gains tax. So mostly, you know, most new money going into storage is gold coins, and yes, I mean silver coins. I think it's good to have a conversation of the silver versus gold when it comes to people who want to have a mix, because I've got some views on that, but it's easier to discuss on a one-to-one basis. Or some bars that get put in a package with your name on, and then if you ever want them back, those are the ones that you'd get, and we don't leverage anything. It's not on our balance sheet, basically, so we can't.
I think it's worth mentioning that part of why we use a third-party storage provider is that if we were to go under, then they're still there as a point of contacts and availability, and if they were to go under, we are. So there's like a sort of triangle that helps things keep afloat.
Yeah, the precious metals, the key point is that if there was ever an issue over like a company's liquidation, that gold and silver, other metals, is not the property of the company, it's yours. It's like you rent a garage. The assets inside that garage are yours and can't be used to pay off anyone else's debts. Got anything at the minute? Okay, so I wanted to say that when people were going through these, you know, it can be a transition, and you start off buying some metal for one purpose, and then during the time that you own it, you might change what you want to do with it. And we're here not just for when you want to buy or sell, but if you just need to check in and you want to have a chat about, you know, timing, or you've got something on the horizon and you just want to let us know, so that, you know, you might be looking for a property or piece of land and found something, and you just want to put us on standby to find out, you know, what the situation is, if you suddenly need the money, or how we would work together to make sure your transaction went smoothly. You know, and this is where the relationship comes in. So we're around to chat, you know, so that you've got a sounding board, really. You know, we won't give you advice. You have to make those decisions yourself, same as when you buy, when you sell. But you know, we do like to just be here to help you along your journey. And Melissa was saying about the vault, the public can't go in. We can go in because we have a business relationship with them, but they don't allow our customers to visit. So I just wanted to set people's mind at rest in case they thought that nobody can get access to the metal. We can go in and we can do audits, you know, when we want to. And I also wanted to mention about ID verification. Another reason why we do that, especially when people have items in storage with us, it's so that we know who you are, and then when you want to sell your gold or silver back, we know that we are dealing with you, not somebody impersonating you. So I think that's really important, and we may ask for your ID again at that point, just for extra checks, and it's for your benefit more than anything else. And the last point was about dealing with banks, and as Melissa said, our customers have very mixed experiences with their banks, but I think I would generally say speak to your bank before you're making any uncharacteristically large transactions in or out of your account, because it does help smooth things along generally. So I see we've got some messages in the chat. So Ian is asking, so gold bars carry CGT, but coins don't. Yeah, the British legal tender coins are exempt from capital gains tax. What we have done for some clients is change their bars for coins. There are fees connected with that because we have to buy bars and we'll sell you coins, but we'll make that as cost effective as we can. So that is a possibility if you've already got bars, but for new purchases, I would generally suggest people go for coins, especially for larger amounts. Gold bars, you have got the capital gains tax. There are allowances, but they're not very big at the moment. If you're buying silver and gold, it's a bit of a toss up because the silver coins are more expensive to purchase per ounce than larger silver bars. So in some circumstances, I may say to you, buy some silver bars and use those for your capital gains tax allowance when it comes to selling. But it will vary from client to client. Marcia, what if you passed away? Can you name a beneficiary? Does gold go into your estate? If you have your gold in storage, then you have the advantage of a third party holding it until you have probate. So we won't release it to anyone else without the necessary paperwork, a grant of probate from somebody who is, has authority to act on behalf of your estate. So the gold would go into your estate and would be dealt with in the way that your beneficiary, your executors, will pass over to your executors to be handled. If you don't put your gold in storage, then it is up to you to make provision, within your family. I've thought about my own situation. I might have got 2 children. I might have 2 safes and give each one of them the codes or something to my safe and have it in my home. There are different ways you can handle this. Okay, so yeah, Leo's said put some things in the chat about CGT. So how do you convert? Unfortunately, so I think we're there at the end.
It's difficult when you can't see the chat when you're in presenter mode, but I was trying to gauge. Well, thank you everyone for your questions and your comments, and hopefully we've sort of giving you a bit more information and giving you something to think about. It's only a snapshot. We can't cover everything sort of in an hour in this sort of environment, but hopefully it's just enough just to pose a little bit of thought, answer a few questions, get the cogs working a little bit, and to present the opportunity as well, because some people don't think of these ideas sometimes and look at these options. As ever, pick up the phone, send us an email, make an appointment. We do Zoom meetings, we do face-to-face in our office. We're more than happy to have an informal chat and to go through and answer any questions and look at things further with you, because everyone's situation is unique. So it's great to spend time on a one-to-one with people. And so, thank you ever so much for your questions and answers. It's really good to have the interaction. So thank you for joining us this evening. Like I say, you can send us an email. Most of you are probably aware of it already, but it's sales@bleyer.co.uk. Our telephone number, for those that aren't aware, 01769 618 618, and we're open Monday to Friday, 9 till 5:30. We hope that you've enjoyed the session tonight and you found it useful. Our next webinar is new to precious metals, which I'm aware probably doesn't apply to most of you on the call tonight. But what we would really, really appreciate is if you're not new to precious metals, if you wouldn't mind sharing the link, which will come out when we send our email as a thank you and give you the recording. We'll send out the link to the next one, and we would really, really appreciate you sharing it with your friends, family, anyone that might not know anything about precious metals. It might be someone you've been giving a nudge to say, come on, you should be looking at this, and they're a bit like, oh, I'm not quite sure. We'd really appreciate some help sharing this one as we go into October. So thank you ever so much for joining us. Hope you found it valuable, and we'll look forward to catching up with you all very soon.
Thank you, Melissa. Lots of thanks on the chat.
Thank
And
you.
yeah.